other side of North Dakota. In my travels, either, well, a couple options. One, at my friends in Indiana, I was given food infected with something, or I was caught some kind of mite from the dogs, which could have been a directed attack, it could have been organic, don't know. But that got so bad that your skin is literally eating you alive. I couldn't hardly, that led me to the point of wanting to be dead. And I don't feel like that was random, but it could have been. We'll even assume that it was, but going there to help somebody, that happened and activated all of my old traumas. So the reason, what I've realized about prescription Adderall is that it shuts down the results of unresolved trauma. It disconnects you from certain things and allows you to focus and push further when other things would stop you. So I wasn't taking Adderall at that time. I'd stopped. So the difference from times prior, and things sound all beautiful and wonderful, it's different than the reality of people can't experience that because of their unresolved traumas. And things in the world traumatize you to disassociate you, to build you into their systems. They form you to be the way that they think you should be. And there's good reasons too. But what happens to the kid that doesn't have any control? They rebel. Or when you don't have any control, like when you don't have any control and something is coming against you, eventually you have to get mad to take action. That can be the only fuel that gets it going. But yeah, so it was pretty bad. And then, I was pulled over 3 months earlier in my hometown, sober. Well, no, I shouldn't even say sober. Okay, I had smoked THC earlier. I was fine to drive. I had a taillight out, got pulled over. The cop got angry when I said it didn't matter where I was going, because it didn't. He conveniently had his audio off during the whole section, which pretty much justifies him arresting me. Not even justifies arrest. So he says I was arrested, not charged, but it gave him a reason to be able to get a court order for a UA. So after 7 months of being on the road, the UA comes back and it says there's amphetamines in it. I guarantee, I bet my life that there was no amphetamine, that I was under the influence of amphetamine when I got pulled over. Not even a chance. But I was on prescription Adderall at different times. So it's not completely unfathomable that there wasn't something from the prescription still in the system, but I do not think that there was any Adderall anywhere near that time. I took field sobriety tests, which I told the guy I would take a breathalyzer test because he said I was drunk. He turned his audio back on his car right then after that and came back and said that I had to do field sobriety tests. I didn't agree to those. I didn't consent to those, but it didn't matter. I'm like, whatever, I'm fine. I do the tests. The guy's stopwatch malfunctions during one test where you have to guesstimate the time of 30 seconds. I said stop and it was 34 seconds. He failed me and said that it was 41 seconds even though his stopwatch malfunctioned. I'm wearing cheap thrift store sandals that don't fit my feet right. At that time, I asked him if I could take my sandals off. Nope, wasn't allowed. Well, his standards for giving these tests, which are not mandatory, require that you have the option to take off footwear. One, if requested, for sure. But many of them actually say you're supposed to offer. But at least that part was on the camera. Yeah. One of his reasons for probable cause. So I can be an animated talker. I talk with my hand. Like I use my hands a lot. You know, I had a fun hat on, like a fun, not normal hat. But so I was moving my hands when I talked. So that's enough probable cause for a search warrant to arrest me. All that. He said my cheeks looked like they were sunken in. I lost 150 pounds. I lost 150 pounds, and I have extra skin. It's a curse. I just got a lot of sun yesterday. I got tiger stripes. I got burns in some spots, and you know what? The extra skin rolls, that's white. But that's what I get. I was kidnapped by a Minnesota State Patrol officer. I was kidnapped. He was connected to the Catholic Church. I had just left someone's house talking about corrupt entities who abuse people, saying how they were going to they're going down. Not me, God's going to deal with them. And I leave there and immediately get pulled over by the State Patrol. Could have been random, could have not been. I don't know. I know that I am not required to do or say things, and I could have been nicer. I was just like, I was annoyed at the situation. So I could have done it different myself. But this person representing the state that has the authority to remove my freedom is all traumatized and triggered and has his audio conveniently off during the section just to get the arrest. Just like all these things, what he says happened and what I recall happening are not the same at all. But of course, it's when the audio was turned off. Oh, because this is an officer of the law, no, they can't have trauma. They can't, it's their job is to make an arrest. That's his job. He's supposed to protect and serve the citizens of the state of Minnesota. I wasn't protected. No, I was kidnapped. I was held hostage. My vehicle was held hostage for a fee and taken. I was locked in a cage. I was stripped naked in front of men. And immediately once I got into the cell, very, very shortly after, the lady comes back in. They took the UA. The lady comes back in and gives me a breathalyzer test. Again, I blew a breathalyzer, all zeros. The lady gives me a breathalyzer again, and all zeros again. Oh, you're sober, you can go. So they took my money. My phone was dead. They took my vehicle. They took me a few miles outside of town to where the jail was. And then just let me go. No charges, no nothing. Well, 7 months later, I get a letter in the mail as I'm coming back through Minnesota. I get a letter in the mail with a ticket for 3 DWIs from that situation. 3 DWIs. Okay, so then I get a letter in the mail 2-3 days later saying that my driving privileges have been removed for 90 days because of that DUI. So not only was I kidnapped, so the state of Minnesota says it is a victim of me. I wasn't driving any way outside of lines. I turned properly, brake, but I was kidnapped. But Minnesota's the victim of me. So not only was I the victim then, but then 7 months later, then I lose my license again, which is a jail sentence when you're living in your vehicle because everything else that you've had has been taken away. That thing that's supposed to protect if there's somebody drunk, swerving, can't stay in the lanes. Kind of makes sense. But when the power of that network is associated with either religious networks, whatever kind of oversight network, outside of that initial moment, that's where the problem is. So, of course, then I lose my license for 3 months. I